Good morning, everybody. What is up? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Excuse me. That was good pineapple, by the way. And I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, reached out directly, indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world in 2023, 2022, and 2021. I also am a featured content contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen Network, which is run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And that YouTube channel has over 570,000 subscribers. 570,000 subscribers. So we're all good. Excellent, excellent. And soon to be a contributor. Well, I'm on the advisory board and going to be a contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen, Indie Soup Media Content Creators Network, run by Dr. Tachi, based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Florida. And that network has a reach of over 1 million people. So as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem. And let's get some things out of the way first. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the subscribe button, which many people are beginning to do. Thank you very much. And we're getting more subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. So do that. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor on any of the platforms that I appear on, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And finally, let's keep the conversation going in between shows on our Discord channel. Just email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, and we'll get you on the Discord group. All right, let's see what's going on in the world today. And we got some people already Wow, we got a pile of people already in. What? Well, Perry Douglas is bringing the heat, and he's not even on screen yet. What? And speaking of Dr. Tachi, there she is, host and producer of the livest online show on the planet about media, tech, and pop culture. It's called Mediascope, and it's when it gets back on. It's on Fridays. I'm thinking today, Friday, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time on Instagram Live, and then 6 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and other platforms. All right. Fitness IQ is in the house. What Fitness IQ in the house? Oh my goodness. KSF, EYL, RWFQ, FV. That's what she is. Look at this. Yes, yeah, a big timer. Are you talking about Perry? Not me. I'm not a big timer. Perry's a big timer. Richard S. Well, you're going to see Perry in action today. Some way, somehow, we're going to get you two together. I think it may be on me that I haven't given his contact information to you, but you're going to see Perry in action. So I expected you to be here today because you want to get in touch with him. And JJ Mars from Colorado. Thank you. What's the temperature this morning in Colorado, JJ Mars? Please tell us. And we also have the McMillan Group, Ray McMillan and his great son, Stefan, and family. And that's it. Yeah. And who's been the McMillan Group, I always have to big them up, have been a persistent supporter of the Morning Vibe and me personally for a long, long time. And I appreciate that. Don't take it for granted. Good morning, Shirley. What is going on? Hope you are fine and safe. Oh, we got a lot of people in already this morning. This is a beautiful thing. So what's going on in everyone's world? How has your week been? What's been going on? Have you had any wins? Would love to know if you had any wins. And we got a few more days left of Black or African History Month. What have you done? Have you done anything special? Have you been to any events during African History Month? Oh, there we go. JJ Mar says 30 degrees so far. We got a heat wave going today in Colorado at 30 degrees. OMG. That is crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, we in Toronto, we're about, the temperature's going to, actually, yesterday was a beautiful day. It was about 10 degrees Celsius. I went outside and go, whoa, because I hadn't checked the weather all day. And wow. Okay, so Fitness IQ said went to an amazing performance in Ajax. So was it an entertainment performance? I think that's going to come around in our conversation about entertainment and Black History Month and all the performances. And she says, "What a nice for true. Yes, yesterday was beautiful. If you're in the Greater Toronto area yesterday, I hope you got out because the temperature is going down." Oh, no, it's a poetry performance. Okay. It's all good. Wow. Lots of people in here already. So you know what? I better bring Perry on because obviously you're not here because of me. You're here because of Perry Douglas. Oh, a few other things. I forgot. One other thing. Actually, if you are around tomorrow night, please check out Primetime Saturday live with Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key, where they talk about the making sense of the nonsense, the sense and nonsense going on in America. And actually last week was great because we had a special guest on, Manifa Brooks, who's a co-founder of Garabyte Consulting, and she broke it down about data privacy. Her Manifa and her co-founder Susie, both of them have over 15 years experience in data privacy, and Manifa really broke it down about data privacy. So if you want, you can catch the replay. If you go to the YouTube channel, it's there. And I'm just going to be creating some shorts on it. So if you follow me, especially on YouTube, there'll be a number of YouTube shorts going up about that in the next week or two. So I think that's it. I don't think anything else. Oh, Ryan, I haven't heard from Ryan this morning. I hope he's okay, but I know it's getting next week, a week from tomorrow. He's going to be, ACBN is going to be holding their symposium, and their keynote speaker is going to be Dr. George Fraser. So he's actually going to be live in person this time. And I'll wait till next week. There's something brewing special between myself and Dr. George Fraser. I don't want to announce it yet until it's confirmed, but there's something brewing about myself and Dr. Fraser. It's going to benefit you all. And one more, Opal Inspired. Follow Opal Inspired on her YouTube channel. Watch all her continuous artistic creations on the YouTube channel. All right, I think we are done, and let's bring him to the show. Perry Douglas has not been with us for a while, but lots going on in his world. I was chatting with him initially, but Perry, how you doing this morning?
Not bad, man. Not bad. You know, all good in my hood, so can't complain.
Good. What have you've been working on that you're willing to share this morning? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, you know, just been working on my main thing. We're just our company 6AI Technologies. We're actively, you know, raising capital, you know, getting into Silicon Valley, raising capital to build our software and, you know, and change the world. So, you know, it's a tough slog. You know, there's not a lot of guys like me that look like we're doing, you know, trying to do big things. So, you know, it's tough, but hey, never complain, never make excuses, just get it done.
Excellent. It was funny before we went on live in the green room, we're talking about a book. And if anyone has this book, please, it's still a great read, called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?
All the fun, yeah.
And it's a great book. I know the gentleman's first name is Reginald. I got to find out. I got to remember.
Reginald Lewis.
It is Reginald Lewis. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Reginald Lewis, and Reginald Lewis was trailblazer, because many years ago, he did the first big Black African American do a big leverage buyout.
Correct.
And it's an absolute great read. So as Perry was saying, one of the biggest challenges for African people is access to capital.
Yep. 100%. And you know, the thing with just back at Reginald Lewis, when he did it back in the day, He bought out Beatrice Foods with debt. It was a huge thing. But if you read his book, and like I think I told you in the green room, I have the book. I have no idea where it is.
Where it is, I don't know where it is.
I would love my kids to read that. But the title, why should white guys have all the fun, or the sayings, is that he realizes that you can do anything you want in life, and you shouldn't let the color of your skin or what other people think about you. It's all about what you think, how you think, and then you should go for it. And there's going to be barriers in your way, but that's life. You got to play the cards that you're dealt. So he's one of my heroes, and he was an inspiration. And he was one of the inspirations for me to go into the investment business. So,
wow.
So that's a really good book. People should, if you read that book, man, I think it's one of the great reads that people should have from a motivational perspective.
Yeah, and J.J. Marr says Reginald Lewis, the first Black billionaire, may be in at least North America, may be.
Yeah,
maybe he may be definitely one of the first. And it's interesting. What I periodically listen to Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he has a lot of interesting acronyms, and one of them is POOR, POOR, and that acronym means passing over opportunities repeatedly.
Yep. And we tend to pass over opportunities, I think, because of state of mind. And I think one of the things I'm focusing on, even in the software that we're building, is how to be an individual thinker, right? So the whole thing about applied intelligence is how best to apply your intelligence to a problem or an objective that you're trying to deal with, and be original as much as you can, and be an individual, because great businesses are not created by just copying. People think, well, there's so many different businesses out there. How can people build new businesses and be successful? Well, it's about thinking differently. So if you can think different and have the courage to be different, and have the courage to pursue your objectives, you will succeed. And I think my wife, was told me this saying, I think I've heard it on the radio. It was a song, somewhere in a song it goes, I've come too far to go this far, or something like that. No, this is so basically, if you've come to a certain point, don't give up. Keep going, keep pushing. And a lot of times, most people give up right before the dawn, and right before the sun comes out. So in the darkness, keep pushing, and don't worry, the sun will come out for you.
Well, one of the sayings that one of my major mentors says, you've hit the hardest part when it's the easiest time to quit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And, one of the things, you have to do a lot of assessment of yourself and who you are. And you learn a lot about who you are. You learn a lot about who your friends are when times are tough. But for me, I the harder it gets, the stronger I become. And I'm not masochistic or anything, but when it gets hard, I really know, hey, I'm getting closer. I'm doing things right. So you just got to get stronger, man. You got to find that strength. And if you have a purpose in your life, if you have an authentic purpose that you're trying to achieve, you're going to need that strength. Because if you don't have an authentic purpose and you're just doing something for the sake of doing it, or somebody told you to do it, or it looks cool, you're going to fail. Because in the darkness, when you need that strength and you need that light comes from the inside, and it shines your path. But if you don't have that purpose is going to be very difficult for you to generate that internal light and that internal strength to keep you going.
Well, I'll just add one more thing. We'll get into our conversation topic. Yeah. It's good to have passion and purpose, but it better be aligned with who you are.
Absolutely.
Right. You can have passion, you can have purpose, but if it isn't aligned to who you are,
yes,
you're wasting your time.
Yeah, and that's your individual, and that's a very good point, because that's your individualism, that's your superpower, that's your strength. Because if you're like everybody else, then what value do you produce in the universe? So for me, one of the things I try to be myself. You can love me, you can hate me, whatever it is, but I'm going to be who I am. And that's about it. I might make mistakes or whatnot, but I can only be who I am, and I'm not trying to be anybody else. And you're right about that. Definitely has to do with who you are.
All right. Also in the house, Roger Dundas.
Good morning,
And we were having a little bit of a conversation via email during some week on some things.
Yes.
Which may or may not come up in our conversation. But good morning, Roger. Roger and Camille run the #1 Black online magazine in Canada by blacks.com. Check it out. Actually, I was doing a sharing session. This interesting point, I was doing a sharing session for the Whitby Chamber of Commerce 3 weeks ago today. And basically, I just shared my story and just shared some of the people that have been helping with my passion and the possibilities that it's led to. And I put Roger and Camille up on the screen, telling what they're doing. I said to about 170, 180 people in the room, 80% didn't look like us. I said, if you're serious about helping us, these are two of the people that would love to help you get closer to our marketplace. I don't think, and I gave their contact information and no one's contacted them. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. And we got one more IPV, ADDT morning. All right. So Perry.
Yes,
Black
sir.
History Month.
Yes, sir.
You want to chat about the peril of Black History Month, how we hold ourselves back by doing the emotional thing instead of the intelligent thing.
Oh, where'd you get that one from?
No, only that's a Perry Douglas title. If I know anything,
exactly. Sounds familiar.
You go. What's up?
Yeah. So first of all, Black History Month is extraordinarily important in terms of important for people to understand that if you don't know your history, and history for me, as you know, is a big thing in general. It's an important thing. But I think, from a Black History Month perspective, there are some perils that I find. And me, I look at everything mathematically, analytically, which allows me to remove, this is the whole thing about applied intelligence, allows me to remove the emotion and look for the objective truth. Because the objective truth is the only thing that's true. Everything else is, what you believe or whatnot. So there's some dangers in Black History Month, because one of the things we do is we give homage to the past. We talk about all the things Black people did, Black inventions, and all that. That's all good. But I think when we look at it, when you go back from slavery and colonialism, civil rights movements, all the hardships and the brutality Black people have gone through in history to get here. And the best thing I believe we can do to honor them, right, is to change our situation, change our mindset, go, from an entrepreneurial perspective and go for it. It's not good in the month reminiscing about this. Oh, this Black person did this Black person did that. Okay, what are you doing now to honor that? They went through the struggle. They went through all these things. But what are you doing now to change your situation in business and whatever else, education, to help your kids and whatnot? So I think the best way to honor them is by the actions that you're doing now. It's not good enough from my perspective, from a Black History Month perspective, to just go back and, talk about all these things, honor this, honor that. That's great. But the best thing you can do for your ancestors as they look down on you is to see how you are progressing and how we are changing our own situation on our own and not relying on or dependent on others, government, and all these different things, organizations and these different things to move us forward. Personal self-responsibility and changing our overall socioeconomic situation is the best thing we can do in Black History Month to honor our ancestors. So that's my feeling about it. And I think what we really should focus on more about what we're doing and what we're doing next, while honoring the past.
Okay. Great intro. We're going to take a quick little break and come back. We're going to go deeper into that. A lot of people in the room this morning. Hey, if you have any questions, and I see one or two already in regards to what Perry's sharing about, Bring the questions, bring the heat, because he brings the heat. So bring it back to him. All right. So we'll be back in about 90 seconds. Keep it tight, on the morning vibe.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us. The diversity. Like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr. Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. Good morning. Morning Vibe. Good morning also to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. If they're watching this live, which I don't know if they are or not, but they get up at 5:30 in the morning and go to the gym. So who knows? They may be watching this. They may be not. So we are. Oh, wrong thing I put up here. There we go. Let me put that thing up. That's the correct thing. And we're hanging out with Perry Douglas this morning. Comments. IPV says we should be leveraging our communities not only during Black History Month, but 360 days a year. Absolutely. You also asked, when you were at the Whitby Chamber of Commerce, WHIT, by the way, you were able to leverage an organization has booked me to do a presentation in October outside of Black History Month. Go figure. So yes, I have been able to leverage some of that. Coming back to you, Perry, You're saying, why do you feel there's a hesitation, or what's the blockage? I'm just making this assumption. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. Why are we as African people not leveraging and learning more about our past to help us succeed going forward?
Well, like I said, me, everything for me is about history. And even, history is important because all the lessons in the world is in history. But I think, what we have to do, and I think that last comment was good. It's a 365, every day that you should be working on yourself. Because at the end of the day, history, of course, is important, but life comes down to what you do next, right? So a lot of the times, we can use Black History Month as an excuse to give us all the reasons why we can't succeed, to give us all the reasons why we, we're disadvantaged. Life is not fair, right? Well, guess what? Life is not fair, okay? But if you automatically have in your brain that you are at a disadvantage, you will begin to think like that, okay? And I'm just gonna, use my kids just because, this is my best way to explain it. With my kids, I've always taught them to go for what they want, right? Always, excel. Go wherever you want. Do whatever you want because you are deserving. And if you work hard, you're going to be able to get it, irrespective if other people are privileged or not. So it comes down to mindset. But if you use Black History Month, okay, so in the subconscious mind, and this is what happens, 95% of our decisions are made in the subconscious mind. If we use Black History Month as a way to romanticize the past, okay, if you use it to romanticize the past and romanticize racism, it is not helpful to you. So what I'm fundamentally saying is that we have to take personal responsibility for our own lives, play the cards that were dealt, make no excuses, and move forward, because nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. This is a world of self-preservation, and people do things in their best interest. So what you're doing now with all these corporations, you know, having, Black History Month event, Black History Month this, they're honoring this. But what do they do for the other, 11 months of the year? So what happens? Black people get into this trap. We're honoring Black History Month, as if those corporations are going to change anything. What they do, if people have to be observant, what they do is they use Black History Month, okay, as a reason and an excuse not to do what they should be doing, for the 11 months of the year. And we like suckers take the bait all the time and say, this corporation is doing this, this corporation is doing it. They are doing it in order to maintain control. Nobody in the management of that corporation is going to give up their gains, ill-gotten or not, for you. Okay, so what you allow them to do is you allow them to use Black History Month, okay, to keep you in the corner, okay, while they maintain the power, while you suck up that Black History Month and think that you've achieved something. You got to think. And we don't, and that's sort of the peril of Black History Month that I think we have to be more observant about. We have to be empirically observant. What I mean by that, empirically observant, we got to look at what actually is happening. We got to see the objective truth. We can't rely on our emotions to say, this is happening, they're doing a good job. What actually are they doing? You have to look at the empirical data and say, okay, if they're doing all these things, then okay, you connect the dots and that's fine. But if you don't take life from an objective truth, empirical analysis perspective, you're just going to continue to be fooled, right? So those are some of the perils that I think Black History Month works against us as Black people. We become our own suckers. We become our own suckers for nice stories. Don't give me stories. Give me facts and give me hard information and hard results. That's what I look for. I don't want to hear stories.
All right. Want to shout out Brenda Elizabeth Williams and Pauline Smiley for liking this conversation on Facebook. Appreciate that. Shirley says, well said, reminiscing is not enough. We need to transform emotions into economic. For instance, change the name of Dundas Square. Dundas Square is the emotional part. The financial part should be no tax for us.
Yeah. I mean, well said. What has happened to us as people? We've been fed so many stories, right? And particularly with the backdrop of religion, we've been fed so many stories that we continue to believe in stories and nice narratives. And this is a competitive environment. Okay, it's not necessarily about race. For white people, it's not necessarily about race. It's a competitive environment. When South Asian, Indian people, Chinese people come here, they're coming here to compete, right? They don't care about your history one. They're coming here to compete. You got to understand their mentality is to compete. They're not sitting worried about if the person's, calling them derogatory racist names from an Indian perspective, Chinese, but they don't care about that. They're focused on competing and how they can beat you, right? But what we do is we fall for these stories and these narratives. We believe in the world is a top-down, where we rely on organizations and what people say to change our lives. Nothing like this exists in the universe. Okay, in order to create change, it's a bottom-up process. Okay, it's a bottom-up process, and it's like what I've called in my book the sophistication of self-preservation. We are all doing it. It's supposed to be competitive. It's not supposed to be fair. So if you want, you got a simple choice. You can sit and cry about it, how life is not fair, these people are racist or whatnot, while they continue to make the money. Or you can do what you need to do, make sure your kids are educated, make sure they get into the best universities, do what you have to do, strategically place yourself to get into a better position. When you get into position, make those moves. Be silent in your work. And when you're ready and you have the power, then come out and do what you have to. You have to be strategic in your thinking to succeed in the world. We have to remove this overly emotional existence that we have as Black people and move more to an intellectual, existence. And that's the whole thing about applied intelligence. And Marcus Garvey said this a long time ago. Okay. Intelligence runs the world and ignorance carries the burden. Okay. So we have to, as he said, and Garvey said, we have to move ourselves as far away from ignorance as possible and engage in intelligence. Okay. Marcus Garvey said that, over a century ago, right? I think, depending on my math. But right now, all we do is just believe in nice stories and believe our life is going to change. Well, your life is not going to change if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
All right. IPTV, got to get that spell check happening. Correct. Maybe you mean to say it that way. Nobody cares. Corporations only use this one to make it seem as if they care or that they're doing due diligence to say only for 1 month. Outside of that, it's back to the same old.
100%.
And I think I used this analogy on Mondays, this past Monday's The Morning Vibe, but I'll bring it up again. And I think Perry will be able to relate to this. A few weeks ago, we had the Super Bowl, biggest one-day sporting event in the world. 2 teams played, Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. If Perry and I, before the game started, went up to this for the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, their coach Andy, can't remember his last name, Andy Reid. And we said, hey guys, who's the best team out there today? What are they going to say? It's us.
Yeah.
Okay. We go to the other side of the field. We talk to Kyle Shanahan, who's the coach of the 49ers, Brock Purdy, their quarterback, other people on 49ers. Hey guys, we just heard from the Chiefs that they're the best team on the field. What are they going to say? No, they're going to have to fight us. We got to fight.
Yep.
Using that analogy, Perry, from your lens, do you feel that many African people have lost the fight?
Listen, we make so many excuses. I think Barack Obama said it a while ago. We got nothing to complain about. Okay. Our ancestors came over here in chains, shackles, died in ships, was brutally attacked. Okay. Dehumanized. Okay. What are we complaining about because somebody's made a racist comment against us? We got to toughen up. Okay. We got to be stronger. We got to be mentally stronger because it serves no purpose to engage, okay, in the romanticism of racism. It serves no purpose. For example, as you see what's happening here in this whole thing with DEI and all those things. Okay. After George Floyd, DEI is pretty much dead right now. Right. Because after George Floyd, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Oh yeah, we're going to do stuff. White people, we're going to do something for Black people and whatnot. Okay, where's DEI now? Okay, nobody. Listen, I come from a small island in the Caribbean called Grenada. Come from a small parish in the country. I got country boy sense. Okay, I got good common sense. Okay, my grandmother told me, ain't nobody gonna do. She was in a Grenadian accent, but I'm not gonna butcher it for you here. But you can't depend on anybody except yourself. At the end of the day, no one's going to do anything for you. It's you have to do it for yourself. Doesn't mean racism doesn't exist. Doesn't mean the world, you have to see the world for what it is. Okay? And then create your plan for you to succeed in the world. Okay? That's how it goes. Like this feeling sorry for yourself and this, this excuse making, Black. One of the things I can't stand. Black people need a safe space. There is no safe space in the damn universe. Okay, the universe is a competitive place, and if you don't want to compete, then you're going to not succeed. And all the complaining in the world is not going to help you. So your analogy is correct. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have personal responsibility, accountability. Okay, and that takes courage. So you got to find the courage to do that because it's a tough world out there. Okay, and ain't nobody coming to rescue you. You're going to have to rescue yourself. That's the way I see the world.
All right,
that's what the world is.
No problem. Dr. Chachi says true, but the comments often lead to real action and policy.
I'm not sure what she means by that. But
yeah, Dr. Chachi, if you can give a little bit more depth on that, I'd like to hear what you mean by that also. IPVADT says we have to learn to work together to leverage our community. The trauma of our community is so heavy that we cannot move forward. How do we cross the river together when we refuse to hold hands?
Yeah, but I don't think you have to worry about holding hands and all that. You got to do, and you got to be your own leader. Okay. If you allow your, I don't want to go into the neuroscience and psychology here, but everything in your life is historical, is data, and there's trauma there. Okay. But if you allow your life to be defined by your trauma, you're never going to move out of that trauma, and you're never going to move forward. Okay. So people constantly say, okay, people would, from a psychology perspective, oh, you got to deal with your trauma, or you got to deal with this. But there's really good, solid research out there that tells you just got to move on. Okay, because what happens is that you can stay in that trauma, but I think what you have to understand, know that trauma, acknowledge that trauma, but decide on what you're going to do next. Right? That's what you have to do to move forward.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in on that. I hear what you're saying, but I'm getting to the point in my journey that I think for African people, especially North America, racism isn't the biggest challenge. Trauma is. And I hear where you're coming from. They got to work through that. But the thing is, a number of people got to be equipped to work through that trauma. They can't do it on their own.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? What you just said, right? And I love when people challenge, because that's the way you really, like I said, I learn every day. But the data says, right, most of the trauma Black people have is from racism, right? So what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to be singularly defined. So when you use the word trauma, I always look for the objective truth and how to define things, right? The information says most of the trauma that Black people experience has to do with racism, from the job, from a mental health perspective, racism, whatever it is, that's the trauma. So it's kind of the same thing. So what has to happen is, the best thing you can do for yourself is acknowledge that trauma, okay, and develop a strategy for you to get what you want in life. But you can't hold on to that trauma, because if Robert Smith said, the Black billionaire, okay, racism, he didn't use the word trauma, but I'm going to add a little bit to his quote here. He says, racism and trauma, okay, is like gravity, okay? The more you think about it, the more it keeps you down. Black billionaire Robert Smith, okay? The more you think about it, the more because it will be embedded in every decision you make. So if you're constantly thinking about racism, if you're constantly thinking about what you can't do, if you're constantly thinking about the trauma, it will come out in your expressions, in your frame of mind, what you can and what you cannot do. If you do not have a clear, focused mind on your objective, with a fully defined strategy on how to get there, and that's the other problem with people, they don't have a strategy. Okay, they want everything. That's your trauma. You want to deal with trauma. What's the strategy for your trauma? Right? So, one of the things that our software is going to do is help people, okay, build strategies. I mean, it's mainly for enterprise and businesses, but the strategy process is agnostic, right? So everybody needs a strategy in life. You're gonna pick up and drive to the corner store. You need a strategy for that. Am I going to take the street with the lights, or am I going to take the back street or whatnot? Everybody needs a strategy. So we have to stop focusing. We have to start focusing on the things that keep us down, and start focusing on what we can do to move us up. Okay, that's the only way. Other than that, you're going to be stuck in the abyss for the rest of your life.
Don't disagree with you, but I think many people need help to get where you think they should be.
Because I'm not saying they shouldn't get help.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Get some help.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not saying different things. I'm just saying have a strategy to do that. So I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying get some help. I'm a big advocate for mental health, and I do believe, from a perspective of mental health and psychology and therapy and all that. I think that's a huge thing. And I think therapy, all these things are vitally important. Mental health, right? So I'm not saying don't go get help with it. What I'm saying is have a strategy. And if part of your strategy is therapy, exercise, okay, doing things differently, whatever it is, but make it part of your strategy and execute the strategy. Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
right.
I would say, I think the first part of that, right, is people recognizing they have a challenge and asking for help.
Of course, 100%.
You know, so let's got some comments here. Dr. Taji says, and I know you spelled Barack wrong, Dr. Taji, and saw it. That's okay. You're good. When you mention Barack Obama thoughts and getting a tougher skin against comments, that's fine when the comments remain just comments. It's something else when they turn into action and policy. So she elaborated on her previous statement.
But who's turning that action and who's turning that into action? So who's control? I don't understand. Who's controlling your life? That comment essentially sounds like you don't have your own mind. You don't have your own mind. What it sounds like is there's a big brother up there with puppets and controlling your own mind. That's what the comments sound. If somebody's saying to you, you have your own mind and you can make your own decisions, okay? Like that comment is incoherent to me simply because the assumption in the text of that particular comment essentially says if somebody says something, okay, to somebody else, that human being as an individual can't process that information on their own and think on their own. Somebody else is going to make them think. I don't accept that. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me.
All right. So Fitness IQ Cam says, true Dr. Vibe, good old trauma. She also says, that is true. This is true as well, Mr. Perry Douglas. Opal Inspire says that true, Perry, what you focus on grows.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Both ways, by the way, that's a very good comment. What she says, what you focus on grows. So if you focus on your trauma, okay, in a negative way, it'll grow negatively. If you focus on your trauma, in a positive way, some people use their trauma, right, as inspiration and as fuel. So if you focus on that in a positive way, you will grow. So it always comes down to the same thing. It's what you do, right? It's what you do, not what you say. People say, one of the things in our community, we talk a lot. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to do that. Oh, we need to do everything, but we don't do anything. So I'm not a talker. Anybody who knows me, okay, I'm a doer. I'm a risk taker. Yes, I'm a doer. But I think that's an excellent comment. What you focus on, okay, is what you become. It's as simple as that, right? And life, one of the things, what we do here often is we focus on the emotional responses, okay? So Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman talked about system 1 and system 2. When we confront a problem, when we confront an issue, system 1 is the fast, emotional thinking, okay? That makes quick decisions and usually the wrong decision. And system 2 is more deliberate, more cerebral, slowing it down, thinking about it. It's the more intellectual way to go. So I think what we have to do, and I tell my kids this all the time, when you're confronted with a problem, learn your first reaction, because we're human and that's part of the human condition, is to respond emotionally. But we need to move from system 1. We have to learn to train ourselves to move from system 1 to system 2 in order to properly intellectualize and the problem. Because when we use emotion, okay, what we're doing, we're not basing our decisions on the objective truth, or we're basing that emotions on our fears. We're basing that emotions on our stresses. We're basing those decisions on our anxieties. You can't make a decision in an emotional state of existence. Good decision making, from an applied intelligence perspective, allows you to apply your intelligence towards the objective truth, because the objective truth is all that matters. What you think of or what you believe is of no consequence. The only thing of consequence in the universe is what is true. So if you're not dealing with truth, okay, okay, you're living in fantasy, okay? So for me, the rule is the objective truth. And if you can live by trying to find the objective truth and be intellectual in your thinking, I think you're going to make better decisions. And at the end of the day, that's what life's about, making the best decisions. And you have to ask, what state of mind, okay, is proven to make the best decision. System 2, which is a more intellectual, the cerebral process, or emotional. It's always system 2.
Okay. So IPV ADDT said, instead of going over it, you should talk about ways of healing, like therapy and holistic processes to move forward. I think you addressed that.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got here, Dr. Chai says, is the same strategy software you are developing for enterprise available for the public?
Let's just like she's going somewhere else now, and then she's taking it personally. So next question.
Okay. And she also says, I'm not sure where your confusion is. Roger Dundas says, ultimately, people need to help themselves and not rely on somebody else to solve their problems.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Roger.
Okay. Dr. Tachi does say, though, I think you may need to look at what's happening with the comments made by individuals who are policymakers and how that translates to legislation that gets passed. And she says, I'm speaking about in the US.
So this is the thing, right? I think Dr. Tachi, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Okay. Respectfully, I think you're continuously relying, okay, on others to make decisions for you. Like Roger said, you have to rely on yourself, okay? And I think, for me, okay, I'm a believer in personal responsibility and self-reliance. That has proven to be the most effective way for success in any endeavor in your life. Now, that's a fundamentally bottom-up process, and bottom-up has always been, okay, how success happens, whether it's in business, personal life, or whatnot. The top-down, where Dr. Tachi is coming from, the top-down is what has failed, where you believe institutions and policymakers and government and all these things are the ones that are going to change your life. That has not worked out. Okay, so the reality is I have a fundamental difference in you. For me, it's about applied intelligence. And for me, it's about personal responsibility. Nobody is going to tell me or my kids how to think. We must think on our own. We must become critical thinkers, okay, and not, rely on policymakers to help our lives. We have to. Not that you can't look at what they're saying or whatnot and make a judgment, but everything starts from an internal perspective, okay, from your mind. And if you are not in full control of your mind, okay, you're just going to be going around in circles. So, like I said, right, I'm not listen, you got the doctor degree in front of your name, but at the end of the day, I believe in applied intelligence and common sense, and I believe on what has actually worked in the past. I'm just saying to you, hey, okay, from what I see in the universe, okay, it comes down to personal responsibility, because no one's coming to save you. Okay, if you're relying on institutions and government and all this type of thing to save you, how has it worked out for our Black people? Not very well.
Okay, she says, not quite. If I was true, I would be Dr. Egu, but she said she's not taking anything personally.
All right. Well, it sounds like it, but keep going.
Okay, no problem. So then, this month, how does it make you feel? Well, as an African person, how does this month make you feel?
Listen, I don't spend much time worrying about what's happening with other people. I spend my time focusing on what I need to do in order to succeed. I spend my time focusing on what issues my wife and my 3 kids need. I spend my time with my last daughter in university, helping her, proofread her essays and stuff like that. These are the things that's going to get us forward. People, we can't save everybody. And I think when I was in university, I played football. And one of the things the coach used to say, okay, do your job, play your position. And if everybody's doing their job and playing their position, we're going to move successfully. We have to, we can't worry about saving the world. If every Black person right, is doing what they're supposed to do. Is every Black man is out there taking care of their responsibility, taking care of their kids, doing all these things. Okay, if they're doing all these things, then as a community, as a group, we will elevate. Okay, but if we're looking around, you know, for somebody else to do this or worried about what everything, we get distracted and we can't move forward, right? Like I have, like even in you know, our software business that we're trying to build right now. Like I said, there's not a lot of guys that look like me, but I can't use that as an excuse, right? The Robert Smith, you know, Robert Smith, Black billionaire, or even Michael E. Chin, who I worked for once, the billionaires, if they looked around and used all the reasons why they couldn't succeed, you know, as excuses, they wouldn't be billionaires. So it's the same thing in life, in whatever you do. In anything in life, you have to have a strategy, and you have to have personal responsibility, you have to have strength, and you have to have courage. These are the fundamental of the human condition that helps you succeed. Don't be relying on others. Don't be relying on top-down policymakers and all these people, you know, these academics who know nothing about the real world telling you how to live your life. Okay? A lot of the times, what your grandmother told you, okay, what your grandmother told you is more sense than these top-down academics are telling you about real life, because your grandmother knows real life. At least my grandmother did.
Okay. Can African people achieve what they need to achieve without non-African help?
State that again, just so me.
So, okay, so we all know we have to get to a place.
Yes.
Can African Black people in North America achieve that without the help of those who are not of their culture?
Of course. I mean, listen, right? It's mindset. So it's how you think, right? So you can, if you start the game by thinking, I can't achieve this unless I get this and I get this from other people, you're not going to succeed. You've already embedded failure. So the answer to that is yes. But what will happen? Michael E. Chin used to always say, the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. And people, okay, white people or whoever, will help you if it's in their interest. This is what life is about. Okay, life is about self-interest. We have to understand how the universe works. People only do things in their self-interest. That's how it works. So if you're, as a Black person or whatnot, the white person's not going to do anything for you from the sake of, you know, oh, I'm going to be moral and I'm going to help this person. No, if you're on the up and if you're coming up and it's in that person's interest to help you or whatnot, you will get the help. But I think you can't start from a position, a mindset position that you can't succeed. I think what we have to start with, this is what I want to do. And if I work hard enough and I do all the things, I'm going to be successful. And I know there's barriers in my way, but I'm going to figure. Michael E. Chin again used to say, okay, if you can't get in the front door, go through the back door, go through the window, get a ladder, climb, build a hole in the roof, get in. That's what Michael E. Chin used to say. So that's a billionaire mindset. But we all have to have that mind, but that's a success mindset, right? And we all have to have that success. The problem is, right, when we focus, okay, and all the things that we can't do, like Robert Smith says, okay, that's gravity, and that will keep you down, okay? There's so many stories about, you know, of people succeeding, Black people succeeding against the odds. Well, yeah, that's normal, but mindset is critical. If you have a mindset that you can't do this because of this, you can't do that because of this, it's going to be very difficult. So the answer to your question, yes, of course we can succeed. Black people do it every day, right?
Hayden Morrison, hello, Hayden. Hope all is trying to say, it sounds like I got mine. You go get yours.
I'm not sure, like, what do you mean by that?
I do. Oh, so IPV-ADT says, so what are your thoughts on the red pill community?
Never heard of that, honestly.
Okay. Dr. Chassie says, I'm asking again if it's software is available public, because I asked because this could be very helpful for teachers to use in the classroom in a pared down sense. They often don't know where to start.
Software is, like I said, our software is in development. We're actually talking to one Silicon Valley company because part of our software is for education, right? Because what we're doing is we're using AI purposefully different than how ChatGPT is using it to be an aid in business, classroom, personal life. So, for example, the software that we're developing, think about it like this: if you're a student, the student application, if you're a student in university and you want to get an understanding of your life, of your career goals, your objectives, what is it going to look like in 5 years? What are you going to do in 5 years? So what we'll do is you'll put in the information into the software. It's essentially prompt engineering. So the prompts will ask you the question. It's so the company's called 6AI. So it's a six-step process, okay, to get to the insight. So that student will put in their information. It will advise you on the courses you should take. It'll advise you on different subject matters. It will advise you on where the trends are in the future. It will advise you on are you taking the particular courses that might help you in the future. We're using data science to objectively look at where things are going, and that will be a tool. So it'll be a tool from an educational perspective. From an enterprise solution, it's essentially software that will help you make decisions from a digital transformation perspective. Should we get this particular software for the business? Should we get this? Should we get that? So it's agnostic and it's holistic. And stay tuned. We're raising capital to build a software. And if you want to be an investor, Dr. Tachi, or if you whatnot, hey, give me a call. I'm open, because at the end of the day, we have to invest. Okay. At the end of the day, it requires money. It requires somebody doing things, and people got to put their money where their mouth is, and they got to invest, and that's what we are doing right now in terms of raising capital to do this, because that's how it is. everything requires money. Everything requires making profit in order for you to be sustained, and that's what we're doing. That's how the real world works.
Okay. Shirley says, yes, we can. I think we did this before. When they came to Africa for the first time, the kings and queens had their functional community.
Yes, we can. Right. I mean, simple as that. I think those words are, yes, we can. I mean, anything more than that puts us in the weeds. And so I think yes, we can is yes, we can. I mean, yeah, said it. Yes, we can.
So I know, and you've shared through our conversation today. Yes, it all deals with mindset.
Yes.
Are there any other factors that need to be considered other than mindset in what's holding Black Africans back, African Blacks back?
100%. Excellent question. So let me clarify. It starts with mindset, right? And then the next thing you have to do is build a strategy. So again, go back to software. So here's your objective. You want to be X, okay? Well, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Or yes, you can. Or yes, I can is where you start, okay? The next thing is to put a strategy together based on real information of what's happening in the universe, of what you need to do. Okay, if I want to be an entrepreneur selling widgets, okay, I need to do research. I need to get information, okay, factual information that will provide me insights in order to move forward on my business. Okay, and it could be in anything. If, for example, actually, in our software, there will be a mental health application. And actually, one of the things we're doing now from a use case study perspective is we're working with a Black psychiatrist. And we're looking at the data matter in mental health for Black people. I'm going to tell you my opinion up front. I believe it matters a whole lot. Okay? That's my personal view. Now, from a data perspective, we are going to use case studies and find out. Like, we got to look at the data. We're going to find out, does Black psychiatry, is it helpful to a Black patient? Now, the larger data in the medical community says that when a Black person has a Black doctor, their life expectancy is greater, their health is greater when they have a Black doctor. Okay, so when you're pursuing something, it will be nice to have that evidence in terms of making your decision, as opposed to say, oh, I just believe this, I just believe that. That's what our software is going to do, and that's what we're going to help people with. People have to make this. You have a better probability outcome if you're making decisions. Okay, if you're making decisions, the sun's coming in my eye here. If you're making decisions based on factual information as opposed to how you feel or what you think. Now, one of the biggest problems in our community, which we make a lot of decisions based on social media. Okay, based on things that people say. So there was a study the other day where now, people are on there talking about ADHD. Oh, they have ADHD. Oh, they have ADHD. And what happens now is that this hype on social media, people hear it over and over and over, okay, and believe it's true. But this doctor came out, I think from the University of British Columbia, with a study and say, of course, none of these things that they're talking about on ADHD is true. So what we have to do as people is we have to, first of all, read more, okay? Be skeptical, read more, be skeptical, and find sources, okay? Find sources for the information that you consume. And where you get the information and how you consume the information is going to be important to what you are trying, what you are trying to build, right? So the whole thing is, start with the mindset of yes, we can, and then go out and build a strategy and find the support and evidence to help you along your way. So it requires a mindset, but it also requires, intellectual work in order to give you the right information to get you to where you're going. Right? So that's what I think we need to do.
You got people asking questions of you. Hayden has this one here. Why do you think Black patients get better outcomes with Black doctors?
So listen, I can speak. Like I said, we're going through the data right now, but I'm going to separate my data work and my business work to my personal experience. Okay, I have personal experience. Okay, with a family member. Okay, that they were getting the worst treatment, many problems. But as soon, and it was years, but as soon as a Black doctor came in from a psychiatry perspective, everything changed. Okay, the first thing that changed is, how they treat you. Okay. The second thing is they just understand. I don't got to waste a lot of time. If I'm saying something, they understand the cultural significance of what I'm saying. They get where I'm coming from. So there's a lot of time not wasted. Okay. So the Black psychiatry, from an empirical, anecdotal perspective, changed this person's life, like saved this person's life. Multiple other health professionals didn't come close. So for me, from a personal experience perspective, okay, with real evidence, a Black psychiatrist or a Black medical absolutely helps. Now, that's a small sample size, but now let's go look at the general data to see if that's true. So but the thing about intelligence, though, intelligence is not only the data. Intelligence is also the empirical, your experiences, right? Your personal experience is part of your intelligence and part of your decision making. So even if the data comes in and says, well, it's not conclusive, it doesn't, but your experience that you've had with that professional, you should take that experience, okay, to be true because it was a real authentic experience. Okay, but it is more helpful to you and helpful to the other person if it's backed up by data and evidence. And this is for me, actually, this is a major part of what we want our software to do. And here's an important thing. Okay, this is why it's important to have Black people in technology. Okay, because if I'm writing the algorithm, if I'm deciding, I decide what's important or what's not important. I'm deciding part of our case studies is going to be Black mental health. Okay, and how could we use technology to improve Black mental health? And the algorithm writing will ensure that there's not going to be any biases in there. Okay, so it's not like the garbage that ChatGPT is throwing out. I don't know if you saw yesterday on CNN. I think Google Gemini, their competitor product to ChatGPT, they were like putting out. They had to shut it down.
Yeah, they shut it down.
Because they're saying, "Can you picture the Pope?" They're putting a picture of the Pope as a Black person.
I heard about this.
It's pure nonsense. And the other thing with biases too, if you go through the data and they say if they ask for a CEO, you're gonna get a white CEO, more or less like Elon Musk. If you ask for anything negative in the social welfare system or whatnot, you're gonna get a Black person. Okay, so people don't understand. It is extraordinarily important, okay, that Black people have a seat at the table, okay, in the development of technology and not leave. I wrote an article the other day. We don't want to leave our lives in the hands of hubristic, billionaires. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a seat at that table because I understand as a Black person, and my whole team is Black. Okay, that's the only way to fight bias in machine learning and all these different things, is to have a seat at the table and have influence. If we don't have a seat at the table and we have no influence, it will continue. So you can talk all you want about this and about that and about policy and the way it should be. The only way it can change is if you are in control of that business, and you are $1 billion plus business, and you can say this and you can say that because money talks, right? And that's the mindset that we have to have. So we have to fight, and we have to fight to get to the table. We have to fight to build businesses. We have to fight for power. The world is not, what it comes down to is this. The world is not a morality play. It's a power play. And if you don't have power, okay, you can't utilize it, right? And those with power utilize it in their endeavors. So yes, we can is the starting point, but research and evidence and data and strategy, okay, built on that factual information is how you make it happen.
Okay. So Hayden Morton says this is the Black experience that you seem to be ignored, but I think he mentioned about the Black experience there. He also says no one needs data to validate their experiences. Racism is a real thing with real impact that can't be ignored. And then
here's the thing here. Comment. That comment is ignoring. Okay, is ignoring. That's pure emotion, because it doesn't make sense for you to say. And I just did say, he wasn't listening. I just did say, even without the data, I gave my personal experience on psychiatry. Even if the data says something else, and if you roll the tape, it was inconclusive, your experience with that Black psychiatrist matters, and you should go on that. Because I said evidence, I said intelligence is also a function of your experience, okay? But ignoring data and ignoring facts, ignoring the objective truth is a purely emotional driven response. And that's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, so at the end of the day, when people listen, they listen in their own self-interest. They listen based on their experiences, and they listen based on how they feel. They don't take that information in, intellectualize it, okay, and say, okay, that makes sense or doesn't make sense. They take that information flow through their subconscious mind and make decisions based on emotion. And my thing is, emotion is not the best way to make decisions. and you can't ignore facts. You can say whatever you want, okay, but facts are stubborn. The objective truth is stubborn. You can say the sky is pink today, but the sky is blue, irrespective of what you say. So what I'm saying is that be well-rounded in your decision-making process. You absolutely use your emotional intelligence, 100% use your emotional intelligence, but you can't ignore the factual data and the information. You can't ignore it. That's like Marcus Garvey said, that's an unintelligent way to make decisions, and those decisions usually fail. So, the scientific process to me works best.
Okay. Eunice says Black people need a seat at all the tables where decisions are made that affect us.
100%.
Dr. Tachi has a question here. In your opinion, what role does one's faith or sense of faith have to do with African people's successes, or does it not play a role?
Boy, I think Dr. Tachi, I'm going to give you this answer. If you go to the Medium, I wrote an article about Black people and religion, right? So if you want to go there, because that's a big question, and I would, you've thought about that question, and I would like to give you the respect of trying to answer that question, but trying to answer that question now, the way I answer questions from a detailed perspective would be too long. But what I would say is I wrote an article about Black people and Christianity, and maybe you can take a look at that article, and it's about a 12-minute read, and I have a lot of information in there, so maybe you can do that.
Okay. Well, and I
don't know if that's
I put Perry's information on the screen, but also wherever you're watching this, except on Ryan's LinkedIn page, there is links to all the information, including his Medium page. So it is there. See if we have any more comments. And Dr. Tachi says, okay, I'll take a look at the article. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, man, go ahead.
One thing I want to say, Dr. Tachi. So I come from a family of Caribbean. I come from a family of faith, and without a doubt, right? But I also come from a family, I don't know if you saw, I posted something about my uncle, who's a professor, philosophy professor, religion professor, and all that, right? For me, from a scientific perspective, okay, there is no God, it's a construct or whatnot, okay? But one of the great philosophers, modern day philosophers, Nassim Taleb, has said, well, if you're going to take away religion, what are you going to replace it with, right? So the point being that faith is important, okay, based on how you decide to use it, okay? And one thing my uncle says is, again, professor of religion and philosophy, is that you can't just say, okay, I have faith, and just hope faith works for you. You got to have faith because you need that spirituality inside of you, but you also have to be practical too in regards to how you use faith as a motivator or whatnot. I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe, okay? I'm just here to say, here's the facts, okay? Here's the objective truth. Here's the science, and it's up to you to how you apply that emotional intelligence to religion and faith. I don't know if that answers the question, but still, if you go take a look at that article, I think it might be more. It's a more comprehensive and coherent answer than probably what I'm doing now.
All right. Well, you know what? I think we worked you enough this morning. I think we worked. Hayden goes, yes. Faith without works is dead.
I think that's the point. That's the point. Without work, that's the point.
All right. So, anything else you want to share with our family before we let you go? Great conversations as always. Anything you want to share up before you exit stage?
What I would like to say is that I think we have to not be afraid to have frank discussions. I think we shouldn't be afraid. We're not a monolithic group of people. Okay, with black people, they're different people of different experiences, maybe different cultures, different economic situations. Okay, And I think the biggest danger I think we have is hearing one narrative where if you're a Black person, you got to be an activist, you got to be socially this, you got to be socially that. No, because it goes against the functionality of a society or a community. If everybody in one community are doctors, then who's going to be the storekeepers? Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? So what has to happen is that we have to have diversity in our thinking. We should not over emotionalize or romanticize our past and our trauma. And we have to understand that it's important to have conversations where the best way you learn is to have conversations with people who don't think like you. Okay? Because the reason why I rely on data and information for me, and the reason I read so much is because I know infinitesimally this much about the universe. So I'm constantly trying to educate myself. So a discussion here, even a discussion here today, I'm trying to learn something. I'm trying to learn how people think. So we should not be a people where we are afraid to share opinions. And if somebody has a different opinion than you, as long as that person can back it up with information and give a good analytical argument, right? We can't be over monolithic because it's not helpful to us. They say diversity is our strength, but diversity is our strength within our own community too. In order for us to get stronger, we need people who are entrepreneurs. We need alpha males. We need all these things, and alpha females. We need all those things. We can't be timid anymore. We have to be strong. We have to be aggressive because that's how the world works. So let's have epic conversations, but conversations, the best conversations are the one that makes everybody feel uncomfortable, right? Because usually when people feel uncomfortable, the truth is being said. So as you know, I'm always up to epic and uncomfortable conversations. I think
maybe that's your tagline when I have epic and uncomfortable conversations. well, I just want to add on. I think two things. The more you know, the more you need to know.
Absolutely. Bingo. That, Dr. Vibe, sorry, let me just interrupt you there. What you just said is epic because that is the truth. And for me, what drives me, the more I know, when I wake up in the morning, I start reading, my kids are, how many books do you read? Because the more I know I don't know, and the more I want to know. because by knowing what you don't know, it's like you need to know more. And that's what I'm trying to get across, right? The more we know, the better we are to survive and succeed and thrive in the universe. So thank you for making that point.
I also want to say that, and the conversation is about peril. One of the perils I feel that we're in is many of the conversations I see, especially in social media, especially coming from people that look like us, they're peril.
Yes, they are peril.
There's a lot of peril conversations, and I'm just going, wow. Like
there's a lot of peril conversations.
It's and I'm not just talking this month, it's just continuous. They're just peril. It's not legacy building conversations.
100%. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to interview you one day.
Actually, okay.
I have a YouTube channel. You know what? I'm going to hook that up.
More than happy.
And I'm going to interview my channel because you got a lot of good things to say. What you just said is so true. And I think your ad, who's that doctor?
Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Yes. Dr. Boyce Watkins. That ad was really good because what we see so much on social media, you see the rappers, you see the booty shaking, you see the Gucci bags, you see this, you see Black people engaging in stupidity and fighting. What we don't see, how many Black public intellectuals, not that I'm trying to be one, but how many conversations about, the Dr. Boyce's have, and we push that aside, we just scroll past that. And so what is left to define us in social media are all the negative stereotypes of Black people. Right? So we have to be very cautious when we use social media, and we have to, I tell my kids everything, go get the facts and come back to me. Okay. I'm skeptical or whatnot, because it's impossible for you to learn in a 1 minute clip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So just
yeah.
before you leave, again, I want to put up Hayden said faith without works is dead. Dr. Tachi agrees. IPV ADT agrees. Frequency as key point. And when saying yes, they are distractions from the key issues. Yep.
Yes, 100 distractions from the key issues.
Yeah. And the thirst for knowledge hydras. And remember, a lot of those conversations are controlled by the algorithm. Who controls the algorithm?
No, I think. Sorry, I know we're
no. I just no no problem. It's your show. I'm just steering.
I want to pick up on what you just said again. You know how many people don't understand that? I tell people all the time, when you're on Facebook, right, or whatever, you are being controlled by what they call a cognitive algorithm. So your behavior, okay, even towards other Black people, what you don't like, you've been trained via the algorithm. This is why it's important. And who's writing the algorithm? If some white dude, white surfer dude in California is writing the algorithm, a human has to do it. AI is not a magic thing. It's actually AI is, artificial intelligence is not that intelligence. It's programmed. So it matters who's writing the algorithm, and that's why I am trying to build my business in order to write the algorithms that's necessary, and it will define how it will. I'm not going to say I'm going to change the world, but at least in my world, the algorithms are going to matter. And we don't pay enough attention to the technology that we use. We are constant users of technology, but we're not owners of technology. So based on that function, okay, we are controlled by that technology, and we don't know it. We don't know how everything. Like I tell my kids, don't watch that because it will seep into your subconscious, and you will believe that's how you have to behave. If you look on Instagram and all those things, right? It's all about the algorithm, okay? And we don't know it, and we have to be consciously aware of what is happening to our minds. So, for example, if I post on, I'm just gonna give you an example. If I post on Facebook some pictures or something nice, I get a whole bunch of likes, right? A whole bunch of likes. I post those every now and then. But if I post a story where, I posted something this morning about authentic happiness, which makes you question your life. These are hard questions that when you're reading these questions, okay, when you're reading this, you're looking at your own self. It's hard. Nobody will like it, okay, because the algorithm has trained you to only like things that you can fight each other against, or like things that make you feel good.
Perfect. I'm just going to interrupt you. Perfect example. What is either the most or second most watched YouTube video in YouTube video history? Maybe you may or may not know this.
I don't think I know, but
okay. Did you hear anything about the Cat Williams interview done by? Yes. That is the second or most watched YouTube video in history.
Black people destroying themselves. Listen, you don't need chains if you can control their mind. Everybody's Shanna Sharp and Cal. It is the bottom of the black community of Black people. I mean, you know what? It's the bottom of the bottom. But we think that represents us well, right? But you know what? That's what the sponsors want.
That's the peril.
That's the peril.
There's the example of the peril. Perfect. And we're holding ourselves back by doing the emotional thing.
Holding ourselves back. And I'm going to give you another example. So last year in the NBA Finals, all of a sudden in the NBA on TV, they're advertising alcohol, right? Remember Jimmy, whatever his name? They're advertising alcohol. They're advertising Hennessy. What is the alcohol? You see Tom Brady doing that because they understand Black people dig that. So Jimmy Butler is sitting on the basketball game after a plane, pouring himself,
Well, Hennessy. Same thing on the Club Shay Shay show. He has his own
brand.
Yes. He's doing it right there. And
yes,
notice the proliferation of gambling, online gambling.
Yes.
That is the potential greater destroyer of more Black individuals, especially Black men.
Jamie Foxx is doing that.
Yes, yes.
Chris, what's his name? The short guy.
Oh, I don't know his name. I
Whatever,
don't watch.
Kevin
But
Hart, Kevin Hart.
here's the funny thing. ESPN.
Yes.
Who owns ESPN?
It's ABC, right?
Who owns the ABC?
Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
People think that Disney is a family-based. Okay, but here they are through one of their channels, madly promoting gambling.
Yes. Yep.
Enough said.
And this is my point, right? It comes down to the choices you make. Jamie Foxx, on all those gambling things that he's doing, okay. A lot of NBA players, Kevin Garnett, they're doing.
Kevin Garnett, and he's also an ad for an alcohol brand too.
For alcohol things, right? So the thing is this, right? Those guys have millions of dollars. Okay, you have a choice if you want to do that advertisement or not. You got a choice. So when people tell me, right, everything in life comes down to the decisions you make. When people tell me the plight of Black people is this, the plight of Black people is that. No, the plight of Black people is the decisions, individual decisions that Black people make. Okay, and they become their own worst enemy because they buy into it. You don't have to do the alcohol ad. Okay, you don't have to play the stereotypes and drink Hennessy. Even now with Hennessy and some of these brands, they've said that it's ghettoized their brand, and some of them are trying to move away from that. I mean, they're insulting you, and you're still buying their stuff. Yeah. So my point is, if you Black people, if you can't critically think, okay, if you can't objectively and critically think, you're going to fail, and you're going to continue in this loop, and you're going to be like, oh, we can't do this because of racism. Oh, we can't do this because. Did we ever look inside ourselves in our own community and figure out, hey, what are we doing as a community, right? To influence our faith and when I say faith, influence FATE, to influence our destiny. What are we doing? We can't always be, it's the white man this, it's the white man that. Okay, now in this world today, we have choices that we can make. You can't allow the legacy of racism, okay, to be romanticized in your head and prevent you from making good decisions. You are now have to think in your time and place, figure out your situation, and decide this is the life I want to live. And if this is the life I want to live, yes, we can, or yes, I can. What do we have to do? So the Club Sachet thing is a good example, but the gambling and the advertising that they're doing now specifically to Black people, well, that's how they brought crack cocaine in when the CIA brought crack cocaine in South. Why are Black people all running around crack in California, right? White people brought it in, the Black drug dealers dealt it to their own community, right? So now, like, why is it cool for poor Black people to buy 67, I don't even know how much it is, balls of Hennessy, have nice fancy handbags,
and put it into the pockets of Bernard Arnault?
Yes.
All right. So two more things, I'll let you go. Exactly why melanated folks need to be involved in developing technology. We also need to train AI. And Dr. Tachi says Disney is a business like any other. If Absolutely. They could get away with alcohol ads, they would do it for the money.
100%. And Dr. Tachi, that's my point, right? You just stated this is the reality of the universe. But now we have a choice, right? Nobody has a gun to head. We have a choice on what to do. Because Disney is a company. Disney owes you nothing, right? Disney's not. So you got to do it yourself. And this is why I'm trying to get a seat at the table in technology. Because if you're not in the power game, you're out of the power game. And it's no point for me to be sitting screaming from the streets. I want to be on the inside. I too want to be a technology billionaire. And then once I'm there, then I can decide where I want to put my money, where I want to give philanthropic, who I want to influence or whatnot. Because money influences. Just one more example, because you got me going here. If you look at what's happened with this Claudine Gay at Harvard, okay, this whole plagiarism thing is bogus. Okay, now what happened? There was with coincided with this Israel Palestinian thing. There's tons of Jewish billionaires okay, who use their money and use their influence, say, we're going to stop giving Harvard billions.
There you go.
You got to fire Claudine Gay.
Yep.
And that's how she got fired. Like,
Yep.
It's not about the thing. The Jewish billionaire said, we're going to use our money, we're going to use our power, and Harvard, we're going to stop giving you the
money,
billions of dollars if you don't fire Claudine Gay.
Yeah.
That's how the world works. Now, if we had enough Black billionaires to push back, it might be a different story. But the world comes down to one thing: money and power. Okay. Unfortunately, if you can't get that, you're going to have a hard time. So you need to figure out your power within your own universe, within your own space, and how you're going to effectively succeed in that world. But let's stop, because you
yes, because I heard a notification 5 minutes ago, and you better behave yourself. So Perry, as always, a pleasure having you on. There's his contact information on the screen. It's also shared out on all the platforms, except Ryan Knight's LinkedIn. As always, my brother, thank you for taking the time. We will continue the conversation offline. To you and your family, just don't manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace.
100%. And I'll be calling you about you to do my show next.
I'm ready to do it. All right, my brother.
Okay, man.
Take care. All right, family. That was Perry was on fire. He didn't want, had to kick him off, man. Needed to shuttle him down. I heard that notification button a little while back. I said, Perry, cool down. Get to your next conversation. All right. As always. Thanks, family. So Dr. Chachi says she just read the article. Very insightful. Hey, maybe someone to have, maybe Indie Suit Media Show. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, Dr. Tachi. All right, that is it for today. Let's do some things to just shut it down. All right, so as always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I host, email me, dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. If you want to join the Discord group, keep the conversation going. Actually, maybe I'll put some links up of Perry's articles in there. I think I may do that. There you go. Email me, dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. That's it. And if you want to watch replays of the epic conversation, the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, YouTube, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All right, we've got more comment here. Let's see. Great conversations indeed. Thank you, Shirley, for your continued support. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support. So coming up on Monday, I think we're going to have a Freestyle Monday, I believe. I just got to check. I got to make sure I can get Ryan back. I know he's got a lot going on because he's getting ready for the ACBN Symposium a week from tomorrow. But that's it. Thank you, family. Thank you for another epic conversation. So before we exit, let's do it as always. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. And Sunday, Black Canada Talking. Then back on Monday with the Morning Vibe. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.